You know, I am fortunate enough to get to see an awfully lot of gardens in the Pacific Northwest, and I have to say that as I stepped into this one, it took my breath away. I am here with Johnette and Gary Lee, and you guys are part of the Rose City Garden Railway Society, right?
Yes.
So clearly you must have a passion for this because this railway is breathtaking. I would like to know right off the bat, what is it that what was the impetus for this? What was making you think, however long ago you started it, I want to do this?
Well, actually, we'd have to go back to when I was a little bitty boy if you want to get that technical. But my first memory of trains is my dad taking me across the street to my uncle's house, and I looked over the edge of a table, and it was this miniature world, and it just
And that was it.
fascinated me. Yeah. And so off and on my whole life, I've always had a love for modeling and miniatures and
Yeah.
trains in particular.
And it really was, it was your passion, it was your kind of therapy. You would
Yeah.
come home from work and
Yes,
work on this.
yeah.
So when you finally moved to this lovely place out here in Corbett, what made you decide to do this much of a scale? Because this is a huge miniature railroad station here.
Well, it was sort of an evolving process. I started indoors, actually, in my studio in the building there, and it went outdoors, and it's become, over the course of the last 11 years, it's grown continually westward.
Yeah, and you actually really have this in your mind. This is a specific area and a specific date that you worked on.
Yes.
Tell me about those two things.
Well, I'm a real fan of the Old West,
Yeah.
the history of the Old West, and I've studied a lot about the railroads and the development of it. And so therefore, I developed a plan in my own modeling scheme to make a model of a narrow gauge railroad in the 1880s to 1910 era in eastern Oregon. And I wanted to replicate it with a authentic looking landscape.
Well, before we jump into the plants that you actually use, tell me a little bit more because I think all of this stuff that you see here, including some of the, I guess, the buildings and houses as well, are handmade. That's
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Good grief, you have patience.
No, it's not really so much patience. That is great therapy for me because there's no deadline. There's nobody sticking a gun to my head saying you need to have this done right now.
Yeah.
And so I have a passion for the designs I develop, and I take my time building them. Sometimes they're fast, sometimes they're slow, but yeah, these are the result of that passion.
Well, and you know, and I should tell all of you that are watching, you might think that this was this way before. This was flat. This whole area was literally just
Yeah.
a flat
A
lawn,
flat
wasn't it,
backyard,
before
uh-huh.
you started? And that was about 10 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So this has really become a work of art. Now, in the process, you are his lovely wife, and you kind of got pulled into this, haven't you?
did.
So it is your passion now too. And what are some of the things that you've added to it and put into it?
I do all the gardening.
Yeah.
Pull the weeds, plant, and kind
And
of
was
follow
there
behind him.
was there in your mind when you were thinking, all right, this is going to be, you know, this part of Oregon, I need to find, were you thinking, how do I find plants that'll look right in the height parts of it and stuff?
Yeah, you have to buy plants to scale.
Yeah.
You can't have anything really tall because then it covers up everything you want
Yeah,
to see
certainly.
in the railroad. So
So now I think that there is, because you can't stop, can you? There's.
No.
I want to take a walk over to another area of this amazing garden and look at a new space that you're putting in and talk about that a little bit. All right?
Sure.
Let's walk right over here. Now, Gary, this wasn't like 3 steps. This was a little walk over here to this new area you're putting in. Tell me about this and why the extension of the original tracks.
Well, for years, on my original plan, the railroad was going to run from Baker City inside my shop to a little town called Ukiah. Ukiah never was finished on the rest of it. So what you see in front of you is Ukiah in not quite complete stage, but
Yeah.
the track's in and it's operable. And now I'm working on getting the landscape to look like the rest of it, and that'll evolve over the next year or two.
Well, and I noticed that there are some of the new trees, and Jonette, since you do a lot of the buying of plants, this was probably about the size of the ones that were bigger over there, right?
Yes.
So those are right around 10, 11 years old then. Wow, that's absolutely amazing. Now you're saying, oh, William, I want to see this. Well, now you can. Once a year, they have this wonderful open day with a lot of different gardens that have trains like this in them. So tell us a little bit about that.
well, this is our summer tour that we do every year. It's always the day before Father's Day, and this is your actual ticket to get into the tour, and it's a self-guided tour.
Wonderful.
And there's 11 homes on the tour, and they're we're in Corbett, and they go clear out to Hillsboro.
Wow.
And they're Beaverton, Tigard, and one in Portland. So.
And
Good
so
deal.
then I'm assuming that there's a website they can go to find out, because these are the tickets, so they have to buy these somewhere. Where can they go to do that?
Well, they have local garden centers and hobby shops, and it's listed on our website, which is rcgrs.com.
Wonderful. So, you know, you've really got to see these. I've seen a couple before, but this one has taken my breath away. You can go to gardentime.tv. We'll click you over to the website. You can see where you can go, whether it's a hobby shop or an independent garden center, and pick up the ticket and the book that tells you all about it. And for goodness sakes, bring Dad out to these, because I know that he will just absolutely love it. Thank you both so much for opening up your gardens to us.
you.
Delighted to have you here.